Getting into Planet Comicon 2025 was a complete mess. This is Exasperated Nerd Explains. Look, before I get into it, I know this is the biggest comic book convention I go to, so maybe this seems small and your own story from other cons is way worse. And yes, there will be lines, but that doesn't mean they can't fix obvious problems and bad decisions they made this year in time for next year. If it knows it can be abusive to attendees and still get all your money, they have no reason to change. Anyways, I went on Friday, where it opens at 1 p.m. It should open earlier in the day, but that's another point. And driving there, I got to the exit, which was backed up at maybe 12:50. Already a bad sign. It turns out they closed the road right after getting off the exit. And granted, there is construction going on further down, this road appeared to be closed for the purposes of the convention, which is absolutely stupid. Vehicles had to veer left or right to get around the closed road to make your way to a parking spot. One reason it is so bad is that walking signals obviously focus on going parallel with traffic, so when you force all the drivers to turn in a heavy pedestrian area, you obviously create additional problems. Okay, parked and walking to the line, I pass this area, which is a mass of people. Odd, but we'll get back to that. I go to the end of the longest line. It takes me a little bit to verify if the line I am trying to enter is the correct one, as it's not very clear. They do a decent job inside of having someone at the end of lines with a sign saying line ends here and detailing what the line is. That would have been helpful here. Someone eventually walked by shouting every few steps after about 20 minutes that I was in line that this is the line for pre-purchased tickets, which led a few to realize they were in the wrong line. Whoops. That brings me to one thing. The advantage of pre-purchasing tickets only works if you can get access with the pre-purchased ticket, but the QR code they send you is to pick up a wristband, not get access. So to be clear, I'm in line at this point to pick up my wristband to get in line to get into the con. There was a year or two I did not pre-purchase tickets and paid the extra cost of buying the ticket day of to avoid this very line, because it's much quicker to just go and buy a wristband day of instead of going through will call. That's one of the reasons I began going on Fridays. It was less crowded and the will call line had not been as bad until now. They do have credential pickup on Thursdays now at a few locations, but I don't live in town. If there was an extra $5 cost to have the wristband mailed to me, I would do it. Anyway, so I get to the end of the line a little before 1:20. The line is long and wraps around the building. While in line, I see in a walkway above me that people are still waiting to get into the con until at least 1:45, maybe later. So even if I had gotten my wristband, I'd still be waiting for a while to enter. The line slowly moves, a chunk at a time. Anyways, by the time I get to the massive throng of people, I can see the line has extended to somewhere around here. So at Bartle Hall, where the convention takes place, the convention center is up one level and stretches across the road, so you have a bigger floor area to use. This street underneath is blocked off, and closing that one does make sense to me, but I saw this group of people and assumed the line continued in a snake-like fashion, because, you know, that just makes sense. But as we approached this giant gated area, the guy yells, "Fill in space." What? And I noticed the lines drawn on the ground go all the way across, but that wouldn't make sense for a serpentine line. No, what they were doing was putting everyone into columns. So this is a column, and the frontmost column they send into the final smaller will call lines, and to tell everyone to move up like you're in formation. But this is obviously rife with people pushing their way through and moving up, skipping parts of the line. Make it a line like you had the rest of the way. I saw Skeletor make his way up like 4 columns during this point, and I know he's a villain, I get it, but it's ridiculous. It was hard to tell what was going on because there's concrete above you, so it's already not the best for hearing because it echoes. And they placed multiple food trucks right in front of this column line, so all you hear are their generators and a little bit of the conversations around you. There was not one, but 2 guys with loudspeakers yelling instructions, one on each side, and I didn't even know they were there until I was less than 10 feet away from the front. And I couldn't make out what they were saying until I was 5 feet away. In fact, I was close to the end on one side and only ever saw the second guy. I wouldn't have known he was there if I had not looked the other way. It was a chaotic mess and just makes zero sense. With such great instructions as try to stay in the same line when you're putting us in columns and calling the columns, and I can see if you cross the line, no wonder it was a mess. And yeah, maybe you can observe when someone jumps from the second column to the first column, but obviously you aren't paying attention to all the other columns up until that point. So be prepared to wait in line to get to a shorter line to pick up your wristband to wait in another line to enter. I would highly recommend picking up your credentials early, or maybe they will finally let you get them mailed to you in the future. So I was in line about hour 20, hour 30 minutes to get from the line to entering the convention. Thankfully, by the time I got my wristband, I was able to go up the escalator into the convention center without any further waiting. And obviously it's annoying and they can fix things, but I do understand there's going to be waiting. Yeah, obviously. I think last year I got my wristband fairly easily as I arrived a little before they opened, and I think I was still waiting in line maybe 45 minutes to walk into the convention center area. So I know there's a wait, but they can easily do better with communication, with lines, and not doing this bizarre column thing where you're shouting instructions next to generators. As to the convention itself, it was pretty good. I found some deals and enjoyed some of the conversations and people.
Oh my god.
Anyways, that's all for today. I wasn't planning to make a video about the convention this year. I didn't bring anything but my phone, but I was annoyed, so I decided to make one. If you've made it to the end of the video, please consider liking and subscribing to help the channel grow. Thanks for watching. Bye.